sounds like. Yeah. It's control.
Okay. All right, I think it's about time to get going. How are you now? Good and you, not so bad. Let's get back into themes. Welcome back to course year 423, environmental interpretation. We have been talking about what are you going to talk about when you get out there to lead a hike, to run a public information meeting, to talk with clients, talk with the public in general. And I use the word public in our statement on the whiteboard on purpose, because we don't ever want to lump everybody into the same broad thing. We want to understand there are lots of distinct people who are going to run it. We don't want to paint everybody with the same brush. So, the idea behind a theme, which is what we've been kind of building towards all last class session on Wednesday, was you're going to build your entire interpretive thing, the experience, the content, the book, the map, the hike, whatever it is, around the theme. The theme is driving everything else, and it lets you do the most powerful thing that is possible right being patient to do, which is say no. If there's something that is useful, interesting, important, but it doesn't work with the theme, well, it's not worthy of being worthy of practice, not with wasteful time and effort, but it is not. It's for that particular thing. So you cut out. So you want to cut out 99.999% of everything that's out there to talk about, and how you can talk about it if it doesn't fall under the theme that you've selected. That's a very powerful thing. So when they leave, I want my audience, my publics, plural, my participants, my people, the folks who are generously giving of their time and attention, and maybe they're blessed by choosing to take them on a hike, strenuous hike. Remember, what do I hope that folks connect? Where do I hope to spark today's hike? It starts go to somebody's lived experience today, in this next half hour, or this game, or reading this book, or whatever it is. When they leave, what's the bottom line? I want my audience, published participants to remember this. And that blank is the one sentence statement or question that is your theme. So last week we went through these things. I'm sort of, without really seeing a lot of examples of themes yet, we figured out that a theme is a sentence. It's got a verb, so it's subject and predicate. It's got a period or other punctuation mark. It's not pure, just straightforward, factual, literal language like X is Y, or did you know that X is Y? That's super boring, right? So we are instead going to express it in relation to the participant, the person who is encountering this theme, maybe for the first time, maybe for the first time just in this particular way, that it has some connection to that. It has some relation. It has some relevance or importance, some meaning, some position close to them. It's not just something out there to figure out, why should I care about this? Finally, it's going to provoke a response. We are lighting sparks. We are hoping they land on Tinder in people's lives and spark some real conversation, some real change, some real interest, some real curiosity. Because there's a lot of good stuff that you and I are passionate about, even as professionals, that other folks can find some meaning or connection to as well. So go ahead and pull back out your list. Topics that are going to you. This week, I believe we got right up to the point of starting to think about, so if I pick one of these or something else, how could I turn that topic into from there into, we'll get into stuff like, I would take a one sentence thing and turn it into a spell on. Or for those of you who want to do like adventure leadership and take kids out on something like that. Adventure. How can I structure that run? Like, what are we doing beyond like looking at the woods, take water, we live in this country with bugs and stuff, cricket. So okay. Cool. Everybody got a list of some things to think about that you're interested in. If you don't have that list to hand, go ahead and pull out a fresh sheet of paper and start writing a list of topic phrases down. People, places, things, ideas, concepts, phenomena you are interested in really be passionate about. Like, what are you gonna spend some energy on to be about things? We spent a little bit of time just to refresh everybody's memory. Asking ourselves, okay, so why is that interesting? Why is that important to me? It's not just that my dog is cute. It's that something more in the bond between a person and a dog. Last thought we had Wednesday, together in class, was look, if you see this deeper meaning or importance relative to thing, person, place, the idea, in the whatever passion about, hopefully somebody else could recognize that same into in their lives as well, just thinking out about it. And they can understand what they really care about. And now that we are pets, and I'm not just telling you that I have the greatest dog ever, so he's great, especially good on these 5-degree nights. Yes. Like a it's like, all right, everything's gonna be okay. I'm gonna freeze to death on my couch. because you're not thinking about my dog. Thinking about the dog. So we got a list of topics. We got maybe a little bit of a list, sort of a 2-column list thing going on here with why that thing might be so important to you. And from there, now we get to connect up the dots to building this into historic, cultural interpretation. What do I really want folks to take away? What are we really going to own? It's not going to be a bunch of speech anxiety. It's not going to be a bunch of historical factoids about so-and-so who was just so quirky or got spaghetti in my pockets or whatever. It's some fundamental human value see in this topic. You can identify with that value. Making sense so far? It's a pretty high concept class so far, but it gets pretty practical pretty quick. All right, so the way that we're going to get to help folks understand why your topic might be important to them is by taking these bullet points here and making it work. So let's get a separate, fresh sheet of paper. Maybe pull it out of your notebook or flip to a new page. Let's try this out. I want you to write one sentence about your topic or incorporating your topic that does these things. Okay? Don't worry, this is a lot to fold in all at once. Let's go through a few things together to get your engine up and running on this. We're going to write a sentence that absolutely does not, for the purposes of this class, have any of the following 22 passive voice verbs, the to be verb. Those of you not sure what those might be, it's be and is our most permitted half sentence with it, which shall, should, may, might, or must. So the offender here, especially the first and third of the semester, before we really relax into this, is going to be the word is. You're going to learn to hate the word is because X is Y. Or it's factual, it's dry. Next expressing value just is Y. It's just a factual statement. We need to know a lot of facts, but we don't really care about it. We're going for what people should care about. Oops, I used the S word, should, sorry. BM is, or was, were, been, have, has, that. Shall, should, may, might. Instead, we're going to use active verbs, storytelling verbs. Okay. So let's go with this. 3-stage work through. Write the following statement. First line, we refresh sheet of paper. After they experience this interpretation, I want my audience to understand. Pick a topic, any topic. It can be off of your list of personal things that you feel really passionate about. Be like something you think the professor would like. Talk about where is rubric. After they experience this interpretation, I want my audience to understand woodworking tools. Shut. Stage. Go. Okay. General, vague, topic, phrase, noun, or word. Top. Your list. What else? Topic could be fortune. Topic could be fiber guns. It could be hang gliding, base jumping. It could be viral videos. It could be bullets I hear. H5N1. The forest fires. Talking about spark. After they experience this interpretation, write those words out. I want my audience to understand and then fill in the blank. General, vague, topic, phrase, noun, or word. Again, off your list or otherwise. And before we move on to the next one, do we have any volunteers who'd like to share your time? Be doing a lot of stuff with the class. Might as well. That's the usually on forward there last weekend, break seal. Right? How timely and relevant. Wow. I'm still need to do with the youth. But want to share your doc. After they experience this interpretation, I want my audience to understand what.
I'll do it that one.
It's not done here. What?
So I'm teaching my mom how to play video games. So after they experience, I want my audience to understand camera movements in Final Fantasy 14.
Camera movements in Final Fantasy 14. Is that the MMO one?
Yes.
Jobs and stuff? Okay, cool. All right. It's all Chocobos and sell them for profit. Make lots of guild. All right. Cool. So, general, it could be as vague as. So, a more specified topic might be something like camera movements in a particular video or camera movements in a particular genre. Anybody else? Swear. Diversity of jazz. All right. That's why you put it fast. Nice metaphor. That later. This is all. Cool. Diversity of jazz. Cowboy Bebop adaptation of just free jazz is a wonderful thing. Just didn't translate. All right. Cool. Anybody else? Let's go for number 3. After they experience this interpretation, I want my audience to understand
Timber sports.
timber sports. Perfect. Full stop right there. Okay. We can talk about a million things related to timber sports, right? Talk about a million things related to. You've got a lot of different directions. All right. But just to think about a whole bunch of steps down the line, like by the end of this, it's not right. Is experienced. Like how we architect a sit down, moving, static, a interactive, jazz, thing. What that looks like. Second bullet point down. After they experience this interpretation, I want you to specify that general vague topic into a specific, clear topic phrase. So if your topic, timber sports, is one word, now I'm looking for something more specific. 5, 6, 7 words. Well, what about timber sports? Is it the competition? Is it the physical or the mental training? Is it about the group dynamics, hanging out at the TIC and practicing the what song. What's more specific about that? What are you really trying to get? What about the University of Jazz are you really interested in? Or is it just going to be like a thank you for coming to my TED talk about these 5 kinds of jazz. I'll tell you about 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I told you about 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Yeah. What are you really getting at underneath? So let's more about that. Why is that interesting? Or why is that just drawing it in every time? You can't get away from variety massively for every expansion. Fantasy 14. Is it about that just pedal hammers? You always go chainsaw. And you have this real sort of deep existential crisis. A little bit like, why goes Barno or see these cobalt 3-volt chainsaws with their electric? I'll trust that. But what is it really about? This topic for you. After they experience this interpretation, I want my audience to understand there's this more deep and fundamental and interesting thing inside of timber sports. You talk about a million different things. What's the history of? What are some of the tools and implements we use? What are some of the techniques that we use relative to those? What are some of the gory stories of students putting the overhand chop axe with their foot? What can we learn? Respond. Don't. Want to play it safe? Then just specify your topic phrase a lot more, from like a word or two to 5 or 6, 7 very specific words. A bunch of A's, ands, and thes. Articles. Instead, adjectives, specific nouns, pronouns, names, places, times, processes. Sentences 1 and 2 on our page today, they're pretty neat. Topic, and question generally, why you like it. If it supports your topic, that's what it with why you chose this major. It is specifically not something that interrogate why that might be. All right. Would like to volunteer your clearer, more specified topic phrase in context of a sentence. After they experience this I want my audience, or I'm confident, or I can't wait for my audience, participants, my publics, to understand what. I want my audience to understand bringing sustainable practices into their homes. All right. Let's get down the road. Like it. Want my audience to understand not that sustainability is important, but instead bringing sustainability into maybe not their homes, but if we're all stuck breathing the same air and the same recycled dinosaur-feed water, bringing it into our emotional language. That choice between our and their is a conscious one. Cool. Very cool. It's to understand sustainability to our. Okay. Now, even with a more specified thing like this, like there's still a million different ways you could talk about that, right? There's a million different handles to grip this idea by. But these are the ones that are interesting, that spark a real conversation with our participants instead of just having them kind of stare glassy-eyed at you like, what is this person just brainwashing me into doing? Right? That's not what we're about. Anybody else? More specified topic. The volunteers. Yeah, I'm not that smart. Okay. Cool. Maybe it's because I'm not a musician. I don't know. I have no talent. I mean, we all knew that. But anyway, moving on. All right. Sentence 3. Here's where the real word. Turn that topic, noun, phrase, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 words, into a complete theme sentence tacked onto after they experience this interpretation. I want my audience to understand. Yeah. Incorporate, brings together. About after they experience this interpretation, I want my audience to understand complete theme sentence. Okay. Here's an application of the United States Forest Service using exactly this technique for the entire interpretive experience. Maybe one sentence because people are driving by at 65 miles an hour, 74 miles an hour. Classic job. Well, let's think about this for a sec while you guys are thinking about your particular own theme sentence. This sentence has a subject. Only Josh. Sentence has a predicate. Wildfire. Additional active verb can prevent. Can by itself is going to fail this exercise. But prevent. And that's an awesome verb. Like only Josh will answer the call. Signal fires. There. Fires without over. Oh, very exciting.
Blackie.
Maybe. Okay. This is a provocative statement. It is expressed in relation to the reader. We've got the word your in here. In this case, it's Josh. But this sentence tells a complete story. That wonder. It might be a little, you don't know. Maybe you're a protagonist. can or can't. And then we as humans, it's hard for us to not fill in that last gap. So what happens? Still a lot of moisture on here. So maybe Josh fought the good battle of the wilderness. So the whole story in this book. That's what we're going for with your sentence. And don't worry, you're not going to be graded on this first round because this is hard to do for the first time. Okay, so I'll start with it. When they leave, when they conclude this interactive experience, I want my audience to remember what? And for this one, since we're actually transitioning into a sentence,
Let me put the list of helping verbs or passive verbs back on the screen. This is what we're gonna train on avoiding.
but if you're using some of these, especially as helping verbs, sure. Any volunteers for your first fully baked sentence of this class? We need to get there. As they say in the South. Up to action. That force fires. That. Later on, this semester we'll see an example from Shelton Johnson. But the Department of Yosemite. New statements like, you're not standing in a forest grove right now. You're standing amidst a culture. That's it. Thing kind of proud. Making a statement that isn't immediately obvious. So the rest of that height is about interpreting. For example, black oak trees produce a lot of acorns, which was a staple mass source for Native Americans living in the Yosemite Valley prior to Western colonization. And they made from logical dynamics that meant based on that supply. All gets kicked off by saying you're not standing in the forest road. They are standing in the forest road. It's deliberately putting us on our back foot, helping us see it as anything other than just literal black oak trees around us, static trees. Like most of us, not standing in the midst of a forest road. You're standing in the midst of a culture. Where spiritual beliefs in that particular case to do that. It's the most part. World culture's part. Of Judaism, unleavened bread. In Christianity, those traditions. In Jainism, sweeping the ground in front of you so that you can actually step on insect and harm to the Johnson is able to use black oak trees and get away from what's the lack of thing? What's the typical growth? How quickly are these reproduced? How easy are they? Now, all the hard work that you can years together. Else, world beyond us in other cultural programs. are amazing. Right? And we worked so hard to learn what that looks like, what that means, right? The timber stand improvement plan. But if you want to go into urban tree care, or if you want to go into forest management plan writing, book letters, like a lot of our students have gone through, are successful, helping landowners take care of their forest woodlands and forest and non-forest lands by writing their forest management. Put into that thing, which terms like music. I think that would pay you. Trying to understand just what I do, but why do I do this instead of any of the other things that you have? I don't know what to do. Just tell me what to do. I understand why. So we probably wouldn't go on the sense of your back 40 plot, which is in timber right now, is not a timber stand. It's a culture. Right? But once you stay away from just finding people's side and looking and sounding smart, but not actually connecting. A lot of money to write that side. Sense. All right. We have a few minutes now to think about what a particular sentence might look like as a theme. Or the same specified topic. Take another angle. And perhaps you can make some of this well. So is another hot take. All right, so we wrote 1, 2, 3 sentences going from general topic to specified topic to theme sentence. So we've got theme sentence number 1 about topic number. Looking for theme sentence number 2. What's another angle you could take? For example, Shelton Johnson, that's same height. Talks additionally about how to use the lack of economic for survival. He also talks about the African American soldiers stationed at Yosemite National Park into late 1800s. Following Civil War. So year period. I think it period between establishment of Yosemite National Park, creation of the National Park Service, this park. 40-some years, United States military functioned at least as our park rangers did a pretty good job. Consider. So in another supplement, same month, still talking about black. He actually takes one little role. Several of the Buffalo soldiers, the African American soldiers, Buffalo. Express what it was like. Some of that video. It's very silly in San Francisco, right across the state of California to Yosemite National Park. Supplies, things like that. Sure what about just got San Francisco, this big city. This national park National Park Service, yeah. Sure. Like, well, it's not fair. You guys get to do this. You gotta sit here. Maybe I'm thinking by context. Might not be such a bad idea. It's another angle. Your specific topic. Timber sports. If your first round you went for the competition angle, maybe second round might be the long history of timber sports in America to the 1700s, 1800s. Totally different take, exactly the same topic. So what I'm going for are three different lenses, angles, perspectives, takes, as the youth might say, on your specific topic. There's some different ways to approach it, genuinely different ways. Think history is one thing, controversy as one thing, new developments as one thing, cultural significance. What does this maybe mean to you and me? That's one thing. Bizarre stories as one thing. Not so much. This is X species. Run down out of the textbook. This is how you learn cultures become for us. Care about what you depend on this species. A lot of data here. You see the salmon species. That's not just like the source, but it shows up in their creation. It shows up in their political dynamics. It shows up in their cultural life, practices, and traditions. It shows up in their diet, understanding. Yeah, okay. So lots of different things we take. Now we don't even say so we go west. Probably all eat fish. Probably all savor a tasty meal. If we can get folks to think about that about that delicious new fish. It's like 365 days. It's not big at all. It's like, oh, these other people do language, words, we all like eating. Issues around standard. As climate change pushes temperature deviations for upwards of 70 degrees. Deoxygenated hot streams. Spanning what it might be like to be in this place. This entire culture is built around salmon. Salmon. It's fire. Start out as a question like that. But if we take it through this, our listeners, our participants into that sense of how this is going forward. But it's still right. to find a partner. Buddy, or maybe somebody who's not. And share your first or second name sentence with that person. Back and forth both ways. A couple minutes to do that. Read it out. It might feel a little bit awkward. It might feel a little bit janky. That's fine, y'all. It's the first draft. Just started trying with stuff. Right? All right. Everybody like this one?
It started with the history. Broke it down like 3 months wide. Broke it down for so essentially security things are pushing. Yeah, would trade. That's not. I've been there. Your store and find information about it. Tell me what. It's like a surprise. I don't plus my skill.
Oh, yeah. And so, about that's when I'm just. I want to understand how. Improving.
But I
That's like. Or maybe just was.
what I could do is just only sit
Yeah. Questions that want. It's like. Places and that's not really like what they like to like.
All right, each pair of two, and somebody is up two. We're gonna pair up with another pair, so we have groups of 4. Go round robin and share your either one. Team statement with the other 3 people that are in regard to version.
Yeah. Like.
So.
Kind of like. So I like doing that. But basically like my main goal and stuff like. And stick to. Like that was. Usually have more.
Sure. So sort of this, my main was like a generic one. I just move it down to kind of reasons why it happens, so like tier E taxation. So my colleagues less after the experience interpretation, all my audience understands that the tier E makes interpretation of it.
Why do you like it? You like reading it? We're separated by distance and want to, stay in contact with the And so my first one is. But I didn't. This was my you're gonna be using this. And a lot of things that I.
So like voice versus output sources. But super shards or areas in the that are more or less like okay. Right Android like it's dumb. Yeah, some of it's pretty like picture and some just like geez, like Alright, so if you have a chance to at least go through one, maybe that's like that. What you guys have done is a big deal, automatically easy, right? So like going back to the curriculum a little bit to classmates, maybe that you professor. That's pretty important to you. That's a big deal. So thank you guys for challenge on that. I appreciate it. I heard some really good and interesting things, so I'm excited about this semester. Let's take about a 3-minute break. You need to get some water. If you're going, you should practice water hygiene all semester. Water. Go use the rest. Goodbye. Waggle those lymph nodes around.
Come back in about 3 minutes.
If you like Sophie, if you like that file, I think that the world has actually ended like multiple times over this. They're doing the part of touching that kind of stuff. Like
Like, William Gibson used a super dark dystopian sci-fi writer. I've like heard a little better. Be honest, like I've only read like some of the novels. I want to do more. Neil Stephenson's Snow Crash is a good one. That's like near future sci-fi studies. Yeah, I love it. You can just start seeing all the parallels. Like, so interesting. But like before the last one, 1984, yes. Before I was like, George Orwell predicted this like 7 years ago. Like, this is literally what you're doing. It's double speed, man. Yeah. So it's all double speed. Double plus good. I got like halfway. Well, I read that like early in high school. It's still like, I mean, like a lot of Ray Bradbury. Yeah. I love that.
Uh, who's the guy who wrote Stranger in a Strange Land? It was weird, like it ran real hot and cold. It was like super awful dystopia and like super idealized, but they were like together at the same time, and it's Stranger in a Strange Land. It's a good one. Let's see here.
Well, we got that. It's impossible to have a utopia without a dystopia supporting it.
Gotta go. Have a good day.
All right, we got almost everybody back. Cool. All right, so now that we are up and running on what might be done this semester, we've got some topics, we've got some handles on those topics, starting with some pretty cool ideas bubbling to the surface. Let's go through a couple of dark patterns or negative examples of what not to do. So, you guys tell me what's wrong with this? And then as a class, let's get after how we might improve any one of these. Right. So mammoths lived here a few thousand years ago. True statement, right? Last Ice Age, we kind of hunted them out, but why isn't this a good theme statement? You see that for like
Say again? Yeah. This has no relationship to me or whatever. It's a statement of fact. Like 15,000 years ago, 20,000 years ago, like I have trouble remembering what I did last week, you guys. Like 10,000 years ago, that doesn't matter to me. Or at least it feels like it doesn't matter, which is the same thing practically speaking, right? So this is just a factoid. It's true as far as it goes, but it doesn't mean anything, right? All right. How about the second one? Natives of this area use natural flax and wool fibers to fashion clothing and tools. That's true, right? It's talking about people. Relatable. Why is it a terrible theme statement? Why are we working so hard to avoid statements like that? Natives of this area use natural flax and wool fibers to fashion clothing and tools. Pretty broad. And might go so far as to say it's too broad. Yeah. Like we need to drill down a little bit harder so people know what they're getting, so they know whether or not to go on this guided hike or not. Talking about flax and so forth. Okay. But what else is wrong with, or what else could be improved maybe about this statement? Natives of this area use natural flax and wool fibers to fashion clothing and tools. It's not using a passive voice verb. It's past tense active verb used. Okay. Anybody stirred by this statement? Anybody butthurt by this statement? Anybody kind of angry with this statement? Anybody super excited about this statement?
Go by your body language. It suggests.
All right. Same thing with the next one. Franklin Delano Roosevelt was born in this room. So that's all in relationship to us. There's no sense of you or me in that statement. But I pulled it out of its context in a tour of the FDR or FDR family home. This is a true statement, and in context, when you're standing in that room, it does have some, at least implied sense of connection or relevance to the person on the tour. Like you're standing in the room, you're looking at this like tiny little bed back in the day where they loaded up our cattle and antibiotics and stuff, like it was back then. Anyway, FDR, until we start learning a little bit more about the stuff that he, his wife did during a very difficult time in American history, it's hard for us to see this as anything other than like a dead black guy. There's lots of those to choose from. Too much advice for women. Yeah, right. Like, it's all just to see if everybody looks kind of the same. It's not interesting. It's not meaningful. It's not in relationship to us. Just as white people. So instead, I want to, for this one, lean into the fact that we're in that context. In that room, you can smell the wood, right? And so forth. How about this one? Here's a forestry student one. Dendrochronology data indicate that this area experienced alternating periods of woodland and forested structure. Man, that is lifted right out of a book. I'm not telling you which one because I don't want to turn you off to that book. But what's wrong with this statement? As far as we are trying to accomplish interpretation, based on what we know about the statement so far.
Sounds like Texas battle.
Yeah, specifically, right? So if you close your eyes, you practice spell dendrochronology first try. It's forestry students. This is jargon. It's pretty booked in as fast. We can't make any assumptions about anyone's educational background in the United States, especially these days. Don't assume about a fifth grade reading. Fifth grade. That's something you're reading in fifth grade. I think it was degrees, but hypothetically, right? Fifth grade vocabulary, not a lot is worked with, except fifth grade vocabulary is like 90% of what the newspaper that anybody reads. You can communicate on a national scale using a fifth or sixth grade school level vocabulary. And people do that because it works, because those are the words that people actually understand. Right. So when was it Channel 5 over here, the news channel that was here to do the thing on California wildfires, and they were interviewing Ruffner like an hour ago, 2 hours ago, right? It's on Ruffner, and it's especially on the newscasters to interpret the factual truth of something like this into basically another language, common fifth grade level English. This is almost a completely different language to a large majority of Americans, right? You and I have some real privilege that we get to enjoy in terms of looking at a word like dendrochronology and having a pretty informed sense or guess or real working understanding of what they mean when they say dendrochronology. That's not true for the vast majority. So, the moment that any jargon is just a technical term specific to the field in which you are, the technical field in which you are trained, forestry, right? The moment that a jargon term comes into conversation in an interpretation context, has to stop and use the things right. Just finding a way to rent it. Very, very, very important stuff. So dendrochronology data indicate that this area experienced alternating periods of woodland and forested structure. What is the verb of this sentence? What is the verb that defines the sentence? Subject is dendrochronology data.
Say alternating.
Alternating?
Yeah.
Is a word that can be used as an adjectival chair. Indicate. So, the subject of our sentence, the actor of the sentence, is data. The verb of the sentence is indicate. This is what's called passive voice. It's not that anyone is doing anything. That abstract concept of data. So this is a deceptively forward sentence. It's just really churched up with some fancy words. So let's take another crack at this. How do we rewrite this? Let's say this is our topic. This idea of this area, whatever this area is, undergoing afforestation and woodlandification or grasslandification back and forth over a period of time. See if we can turn that to a functional. It's provocative. And it is inviting. Listen to any kind of a response other than slowly slipping in the chair. Most of us I do. See if something. And it's left flattest. Paper with a fresh way, a functional way, a successful way, according to our requirements for a theme statement. All 7 of those. How can we transform this factoid into a theme? How can we express it in relationship to the viewer or the hearer? How can we make something like this provocative in any way? How can we express this in relation to
Got one possible example on the whiteboard that gets us partway there. So if yours is nothing like this, that's not a problem. It's a million ways to write these. But imagine this forest all around you, but sped up. Can't be spreading and spreading like it should be. These it's a lot. It's not there. Volunteers. This first draft stuff on topic that is not necessarily well defined or virtual. So we're starting a little bit behind the eight ball on that metaphorically. There are no lyrics in this room. But you got an example. First draft. Volunteers. What? Have you guys gals ever been to a show or stocks together? Where either like a band or that where what's that a huge like here is era fireworks just like person and just on like stage. Still weird. Anybody ever been to a show like that? Cool. So it's going to wrap up the past 45 seconds. I wanted to say when we get the content, is we know that it matters. We know why and how it matters to us. How it might potentially matter to our guests or audience or participants. We don't need $1 billion stage that we can matter and stuff like that. We can just be. And in fact, it's not even about different. You don't have to get up and perform. I feel like that. Sorry, but aren't there for you. They're there for this topic. They're there for the inspiration, connection. Cool. That takes a lot of pressure. Off you. Thank you guys very much. We'll see you on Monday. I hope you're looking good. Stay safe. Don't have money for 3 more days. Really cold. I was in the water. Not hurry. We'll figure out something. Figure it out.